Okay, so this is an explanation for the aimbots training map by Mr. uLLeticaL. This is just the way that I use it. Other people do different things. In fact, I'm going to try and show you two ways. I'm going to try and keep this under 10 minutes and show you two different ways to sort of do this. First of all, you're going to spawn in here. You're going to have a couple of bots all around you. What you want to use is these markers up at the top. What these do is that you can close off all the walls all the way around if you wanted to, but what you want to do is close off the left behind you and the right hand side walls. And what will happen, you can see the walls coming up now. It's basically just going to shut off the rest of the map, so you've got this window here in front of you. I sometimes even just lock that one off, because we're not really here to practice like aim at a distance. We're here to practice strafe shooting. What I would suggest you do is, first of all, is put your crosshair on an enemy's head and strafe left and right, and just try to keep your crosshair on that enemy's head as much as possible. It's not going to be perfect. Some people can do it really well. You're not going to be perfect at this, but just as much as possible. If you find that you're sort of understrafing like I am, try and imagine that I'm aiming for this guy right in the middle. If you're understrafing like this and you're always to the other side of him, your sensitivity is too low. If you're overstrafing and you're always on the wrong side of him, going in the opposite direction, your sensitivity is probably way too high. Tweak your sensitivity to a point where you can strafe left and right, and for the size of your mouse mat, you can keep your crosshair as much on his head as possible, okay? That's going to be, once you can do that quite fluidly, and pick yourself up an AK by shooting at one of the guns on these edges. You got everything from the Tech 9 to the USPS, all the guns, the M4, A4 and the AK are probably the first kind of two guns that you want to really practice this with. There's a lot of settings here we might talk about in a minute, but really all you want to do is, once you've got it down where you can keep your crosshair on your enemy's head quite consistently, is just practice going left and right, and whenever you change direction or you stop still completely, shoot. So move, stop, shoot, move, stop, shoot, move, stop, shoot, move, stop, shoot, and you're going to miss. Okay, it's going to be a little bit, it's going to, you might start doing this for a little bit, you know. You've got to practice not shooting until you are stopped completely still. So if I'm pressing D now, I press A quickly and let go of D at the same time to stop dead on a dime. And your first bullet is always accurate. Right, you want to be able to practice to get to about that speed roughly. You're still going to miss a couple of shots in between, but if you can, you know, hit your shots maybe 1 a second, or you know, just under, you're going to be quite happy to move on to taking what you're practicing in here into deathmatch. So practice that with the AK, and then with the M4 practice some spray. So move, stop, shoot, spray. Move, stop, shoot, spray. Always aim for the head, but obviously when you're spraying you want to pull down a little bit. So from here, from his head to about his waist, and as the clip is emptying further, maybe even his knees, depending on the distance. If he's really far away, you might even end up, for this guy, you might even end up aiming down here by the time you get to like the last 10 bullets in your clip. So practice with the AK, the M4, A4. I would also say practice with the USPS, because this is your first CT gun. But with this, come to this board here at the bottom, and you can see where it says Kevlar plus helmet. Turn this to red, which basically takes off all the armor from the bots, which is just like it would be on the first starter round of a game if you were playing CT side. And it's one shot to the head. And it's really accurate. Really. You also probably want to practice with the Glock. This is the terrorist side starting pistol. Also one shot to the head, but the way that most people use it is kind of like, you know, you should always aim for the head though. You really should. But I would also say don't just always aim at the first target that's in front of you when you're strafing. Maybe try and like flick the one after you've stopped. You know? And also I would say practice that with the P250, but come back to this board with the Kevlar helmet and turn it to green, and then it's going to be 2 shots to the head. This is a pistol that you use quite often when we say half buy, which means you buy half armor, a P250, and maybe a frag grenade or a flash or a smoke. And this is to try and basically just open up a site, possibly, potentially, or if not, just get some exit frags and damage the enemy's economy. You want to get quite consistent at aiming for the head with this gun, or even go for the head and then just spray to the body. That's another option. And that's basically all I would try in here. If we open up the map really quickly, if I've got time to fit this in, we could do open up all the walls all the way around. I think it's crates. If we shoot the crates marker, yeah. If we open up the config file and type, is it no clip? And then we can fly through the wall. Open up the config again and type in no clip again to turn it off. And now you're outside with the bots, and you can practice moving in and around these sort of boxes and using them as cover as you would in a real game, you know, and just move your way around the map. Try to go around in a circle. Try not to take like the really long fights. Try to get like from me now to this guy, that kind of distance. Wow. Practice your sprays. Just get used to moving and stopping, moving and stopping, moving and stopping. Never ever shoot unless you're stopped, completely still. Or unless you're doing this really fast. Which even that's... It's not... Right now, early on in CS, while you're just getting used to it, don't shoot until you've stopped. You can even move forward with W and then stop by pressing S. If you do it with the same finger, you don't have to train yourself to kind of like, you know, rock on and off the button. Right. Do this until you feel like you're killing the bots quite consistently. If you're still missing a lot, carry on doing this for about 10 minutes a day. I recommend doing this for 10 minutes a day, every day, for as long as you're wanting to play Counter-Strike. And once you've got to a point where you're consistently killing bots within that 10 minutes every day, take everything that you've learned and that you're practicing in this now, and take it into Counter-Strike Deathmatch. And just kind of, when you go into the Deathmatch, don't just go for kills and try to get high on the leaderboard. Go in there to practice what you've learned here, but on real people. Alright? People that actually shoot back at you. And if you do that, you will see a massive, massive improvement in your Counter-Strike aim. And then from there, you can, you know, build up the rest of your game. But this is the fundamentals right here. That's the fundamentals of Counter-Strike. Okay.